And uh, this talk will be mostly about how you can get luck more in your favor. Okay, so I started very casually. I had DSA as a course in my second year, uh, and but I was too casual, and although I enjoyed it, learning about arrays, strings, and all, but I didn't really perform well in labs. Then we had our summer holidays, and I also did a summer term in Hyderabad, where I really focused, um, and I wasn't casual. I had a specific list of topics in that through the IT prep material shared by the placement unit, which I'll add to the slides, the link if you want. Or there are plenty of topic-wise lists you can get online, like uh, Strivers, top 100 DSA questions, and stuff like that. So I made sure I practiced every topic except graphs, and I wasn't a good at DP, which is why the photo is there. I was very scared of DP, but fortunately, Microsoft didn't ask any DP question. So Microsoft was one of the first companies to come, and before that, I think only Google had come. Google and Trilogy Innovations, which did not take anyone, and their code announcers were very difficult. Um, yeah, I'll move on to that. Um, uh, uh, Yeah, so the coding round of Microsoft, um, it had easy to medium questions on lead code. Um, it was mostly hash map based, and the other one was greedy. So greedy questions are asked a lot in Microsoft coding rounds as well as in the interview rounds. So make sure you do greedy topic based questions well. Um, oh, okay. And before Microsoft, I'd already been through D Shaw and Salesforce, both of which didn't go that well. And I'm actually kind of happy that Microsoft wasn't my first interview, because I bombed my D Shaw interview very badly. But that helped me prepare for the next time more, keeping things in mind. Like as you can see, I get very anxious about public speaking. And during my first interview, I was sweating in the middle with the AC on, but that didn't happen during Microsoft. Um, so Microsoft had two, after qualifying the interview rounds, sorry, the coding rounds, um, there were two interview rounds. So the coding round, to qualify it, um, last year the criteria was how fast you had solved the question. I mean, for 2019 for um, yeah, 2019 single degree batch, batch of the batch that graduates in 2023. For them, the criteria for selection through the coding rounds had been how fast you had solved the questions. The questions are fairly solvable, and for us also the questions are fairly solvable. But the criteria was CGPA, I think, um, because I submitted the questions very late, and I was very worried about qualifying, but I did qualify. I'll move on to the specifics of the interview later. I'll start with how you can prep for the coding rounds first. And so, rather than having multiple resources, I kind of like focusing on one particular resource, and I think LeetCode has it all. LeetCode has something called Learn Cards, where there are topic-wise questions given, like arrays, trees, and all. You can start to get a feel of the topics through the questions given in that. There are also very good explanations given along with them. And after solving those, once you uh, grab the breadth of the topics, you can move on to a mixed set of questions. Uh, like I said, top 100 DSA questions, something like that. Um, so start by solving easy questions so that you feel confident, And then once you feel like you're confident with the language, with one particular language, either C++, Java or Python, then start doing more of medium questions. Only, I think, mostly focus on doing medium questions because they are the ones asked in coding rounds and interviews the most. Hard questions, they're mostly they're like DP questions are usually classified as hard, and they are like one hard question does come, but it's not always necessary. Only after you feel that you're confident with medium questions, at least you can move on to hard questions. And this was the one that helped me the most. Just before companies started coming, like one day before the company's coding round or the interview, you can search company-wise questions, and somehow the exact questions that was like you can sort by frequency of what questions that were asked by that company in the past years. Unfortunately, a very similar question like I learned that Microsoft favors binary search and trees, and it's binary search and trees that came in my interview. And even the coding round question, like, um, um, was already given in the list of past year questions. And try and give weekly contests because the when you're actually given the coding round, it's very tough. There's a time constraint, and you will learn what your strengths and weaknesses are once you start giving contests. And try to put a limit on when you're solving questions. In the beginning, it's okay to get stuck on a question for many days and really try to understand really try to think it on your own. But later on, try to do more questions. It's not like you should skip a question and just see the solution directly. But if you get stuck on a question, it's okay to see the solution, understand it, and make sure you don't lie to yourself. Make sure you can code it on your own without seeing the solution again. Um, and okay, and this is the one that helped me a lot. The IT prep material given by placement unit. It's on Google. It's on Titan Google Drive. You can search for it. It has weekly questions, topics given, which really helped me to structure my um, prep. Moving on to the interview, Microsoft, the it has two rounds. For some people, there was a tiebreaker, so they had a third technical round. The first round was asked by a software engineer only, and it was very DSA focused. The second round was asked by a very senior manager type of guy, and it was less DSA focused. Still a focus on my CS concepts, but he was not very particular about the number of test cases I passed. I was asked questions on trees and binary search in the first round, as it is usually asked in Microsoft. The tree question I was asked was print in the boundary traversal of a tree, which is a standard question that I had already practiced. And the question on binary search was finding the median in a sorted array. I made sure I explained my approach throughout, and that is something we should keep in mind. One mistake that I made was asking the interviewer at the end of this round how I had done. That is how I had done in this round. That is not recommended actually, but fortunately, this interviewer was nice and he did not mind. Um, Second round, it was not a typical standard question like I was asked in the previous round. It was more like if you have uh, an infinitely long list of numbers, two infinitely long list of numbers, how would you efficiently add and store them? So I guess it is. There are answers online, but I could think of. I discussed all approaches with him. Even don't just jump to the most efficient one you can think of. Start from the most basic one, like storing it as long int is a solution, but obviously that's not efficient because it's infinitely long, and long it has a limit. Then I discussed arrays and then moved on to linked lists and so on. And then so when I discussed about linked list, he asked that what could go wrong if I use linked list, and okay, I'm going into very specifics, but basically he tested my CS concepts more, and then he asked about one project, and I went on about my project in great detail, even though it was nothing much. It was just my PS1, but make sure you embellish it a lot and make yourself look important, and also talk about the impact of the project even if there was no such impact. Think about any business impact it could have, also in a real world, maybe on a larger scale scenario. And it's okay to make mistakes. This is better than a coding round because the interviewer will be there to guide you. Don't get blocked. If he points out a mistake, correct it, move on. Um, and think in your approach out loud. Like I said, don't just sit there, think in your head, what do I do, what do I do. Just um, uh, talk it out with the interviewer. He'll tell you if you're on the wrong or right way. And also, remember, they will always ask you at the end, do you have any questions? And I had, before the interview, I had Googled on Reddit questions to ask after an interview. So they were really nice questions like, how does a person who has never had an internship get used to corporate culture? And are interns, temporary interns, allowed to um, add features to um, the stable product that has already been used by people, stuff like that. And the interviewer was actually very happy. He was very happy to talk about his life, his work at Microsoft. So that is what you should engage with the interviewer. um, you should not be scared. You should smile, try to smile, and just think of it as a conversation. And you should, mm, if you should show your interest in the company. And one more point is that DSA is the most important, obviously. Like Microsoft didn't really ask me much of OOPS and DBMS. Um, it's mostly data structure. They focused on my thorough understanding of data structures. um, but the D of interview that I failed, it was, I think, because of a DBMS question that I could not answer. It was a simple join query. And I really regret not going through DBMS before that. So make sure that, like, even if you should focus on DSA, also just watch a playlist of OOPS and DBMS, like the typical questions that are asked. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dee. That was really helpful. So our next speaker for today is Saumya Avasthi. She is a dual degree student currently pursuing MSc Economics and Electronics and Instrumental Engineering. She is currently interning at Visa as data engineer.
Yeah, hello everyone, good evening. So, as Anushka said, I'm Saumya Avasthi and I am in my final year. So, currently I'm interning at Visa Incorporation as a data engineer. Uh, okay, I'll present my slides. Yeah, are they visible?
Yep.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, okay. I'll begin with my SIP prep journey. Being from a non-CS background, I initially what motivated me to go into this IT was like I wasn't really interested in electronics, and economics was good, but like in finance, if I want to go into finance, I should have a good offshoot. So I didn't do did well in one or two finance courses. So I was like that this is also out. So because of that, my like mentor, my friends motivated me ki you should prepare for SIPs. So that then at that time I started doing DSA. So I started actually in my 3-2 only in around Feb or March. But yeah, so what happens is whenever I mean some of you must be there who haven't started, or some of you must have already started the preparation. So like let me tell you from my experience what happens whenever you start preparing DSA. So you get stuck in that array wala part. Like you start array and sometimes you take a break because of mid-sem, compre, or if you are from a dual degree, then there are so many courses. So whenever you take a break, you forget things and again you go back to that arrays part. So you just stuck in that loop. So that was happening with me. So I was again and again doing the same things, and I wasn't enjoying it. So basically till compre I was just doing these 3 4 topics, initial topics, and was getting back to these. So then when I started, so I actually started my preparation in my summer break after 3 2. So yeah, like this is the perfect time for you all to start your preparation if you haven't started. So I did the DSA full on for 3 months, and yeah, then I'll tell you what material I followed later. So I'll tell you the journey first. So initially, yeah, as Aprajita told, DShaw comes, and I think coordination trilogy comes. So yeah, these all companies started coming, and at that point, I didn't completed the full DSA. I didn't did DP. I was on I guess like if you follow, if you have seen it's an interview bit. So they have a full ladder structure. So they have full levels. Um, would you guys like to see how is interview bit? I can show you.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what I followed. So I think it's very great. Like whenever you start, I think you shouldn't just focus on whenever we do lead code na, we always what I did कि ठीक है test cases pass हो गए, then move on to the next question ये वो. But I think you should always focus on कि what is the time complexity, on the quality of your code, because वही basics होते हैं, and that's only those are the points on which interviewer judges you. So it starts with a level 1 of time complexity, then you can move to array. I mean, what I did, I followed this pathway and I did lead code questions. And so, yeah, then by the time I think uh, Uber and other companies came, I was on some level 4, level 5. So I didn't did the DP and all. So yeah, couldn't clear those interviews. I'll present my presentation again. Yeah. So yeah, I cleared the coding round of Microsoft and Uber also. Uber actually, yeah, I got directly the opportunity to prepare to appear for the Uber interview, because like I got selected in Uber C++. So that's a program for women, and you all should have applied. I don't know the time. I think the date must have already deadline must have already crossed, but anyways, so Uber C++ is a program, so I got into that, and from that I got the opportunity to directly, without clearing the coding round, basically I got the opportunity to appear into the interviews. So my Microsoft and Uber both interviews were on the same day, and it was such a hassle. And yeah, my laptop got screwed up, so it was a very tough day. So I like couldn't clear both the interviews, and yeah, then I again continued my preparation after coming back to campus in my 4-1. And yeah, so I'm telling you, it's a bit difficult to continue your academics with this DSA, but I think you should always like maintain some consistency. Like you have to do 1 hour 2 hour daily in campus also, because अगर तुम छोड़ दोगे तो you'll forget the things and you have to again start it from the beginning. So it's very important to maintain the full consistency. So yeah, I continued, and I also like appeared in almost yeah, I think a lot of companies I applied, and then I got selected for RCSM. I gave the offline PU interview. So the coding round was online, but the interview was offline. So I had to go to the full PU. There was a whole panel. So the interviewers were there. So yeah, that was the first offline interview experience. So my interviews went pretty well, and I cleared all the three rounds, and I got rejected in the HR round because they said that they want only, because we five students were there till the HR round, and they had to take only three of us. So I got very disheartened, but it's okay. I went on and still kept my preparation, and then I also like cleared the Accenture and gave its interview, but I backed off from it. So one thing I want to tell you all, that I applied in Accenture because I saw the stipend is very good. It's 1 lakh. I should apply. Let's see, होगा तो है नहीं or something ऐसा करके I tried for it. But yeah, I got selected, and I cleared the first round also. And in second round, I was like, I saw ki the role is some data analyst role, and I want to pursue into development. And there were also other things which were not exactly inclining with my interest, so I had to back off. And so yeah, this is a warning I'm telling you, because it's very difficult to back off. If you once get into something, then of course you are taking someone's seat. So the PU doesn't allow us to back off from if we are getting into the process. So always make sure to check that if you get selected, whether you actually want to go into that or not. So it was a big hassle, but yeah, I backed off from Accenture. And then yeah, visa came in around September, October. I don't remember the exact time, but yeah, I appeared for that, and there were two interviews only, and the last one was like HR round only. So yeah, cleared that and got an offer. So this is the SIP journey. So what I mean to say by this, that एक बारी में नहीं होता है. So there are quite ups and downs. ऐसा I got rejected also so many times. So you have to be consistent, because anyways your preparation is going to help you in placements also. If not, if even if you don't get into a company for SIP, you this preparation will actually help you. So always keep on applying, because opportunities बहुत सारी हैं, और like a lot of programs are there. So visa came on campus, but off campus also. Sakshi Gupta, she's I think fourth year now, yeah. So she's a ENI student only, and she applied off campus, and she got an offer. So keep an eye open, keep looking into the opportunities. Apply from LinkedIn, go to the job portals of the websites of these companies which you want to get into, and just keep on applying, keep on preparing. You'll definitely get at least chances to give interview, and you'll get the feel of it. So yeah, this is it about the journey. And coming to the materials, so I think Aparajita covered most of the materials, like lead code, interview bit. I actually, what I did is that, as I told you guys, that I started my preparation in Gen Feb, and took a lot of breaks, and was kind of frustrated because I had to go back again to the first topic. So after, in my summer breaks, I directly jumped into the questions. Like I just read a few articles on GFG, that what is the logic, what is the algorithm, and I just probably watched 2 3 videos of that particular topic, and I directly dwelled into the questions, because I think questions is the only thing which can. I think it's important to get the theory behind it, of course, like you should know the algorithm, but if you don't practice good amount of questions, then I don't think you can like get the actual gist of, because you have to apply the concepts there. So yeah, I directly dwelled into the questions. So I did lead code, interview bit, and there is a channel, Take You Forward. So I think it's a very good channel, because Striver is the name of the I think, I don't know the real name, but yeah, Striver he calls himself. So he makes very good videos, and there are also question links attached in the description. So what I did, first of all tried the question. I tried the question by myself. If I couldn't do, then I watched the video. And you should, like, let me tell you, sometimes it happened that I did a question for a full day for 4 5 hours. I got so frustrated but got stuck on that one particular question. So that happens, as Aprajita also said, that it's okay to get frustrated sometimes because नहीं समझ आ रहा होता है logic. But if you do that, so you get, मतलब जो feel आती है after solving that, so that's worth it. और काफी मोटिवेट करता है तुम्हें वो टू do again. So yeah, uh, this is about it. There is a Striver A to Z DSA sheet. So I'll give you the link of that sheet. Actually, Anushka, I think you can share the PPT also with them. So I'll paste the link here. They can see. So there is a, yeah, so like there is a Striver A to Z DSA sheet. So it's very organized and उसमें पूरा full topic wise the questions are there, sorted according to the difficulty level, according to like the like what's relevant, what questions are being asked right now these days. So that's a very good sheet. Geeks for Geeks is for something like if you have studied something and if you just want to go through that again, like if you forgot what is merge sort, so you can just go to GFGS, see the algorithm, and it's very easy to look up to the stuff which you have already studied. Then you can see I have posted two links here. This is actually SIP Chronicles. So what is SIP Chronicles is that uh, it's a document by the PU. So they ask everyone from the past year batches to tell about their SIP experience, about the questions they were asked. So it's very detailed. So you can go to the company, like it's about all the SIP companies which come into our campus. So if you want to know what happened in Salesforce, like if you got selected for a Salesforce interview, so you can go to the Salesforce and you can see what they asked in the previous years. So more or less their pattern of the interview is same of a particular company. So it really helps a lot. So there are two links which I had, I think for 18 batch and I think the previous batch of my you'll also get for our batch also, like 19 batch you'll get. So I think go through those, you'll get a very good idea about what that particular company is going to ask, what is their pattern. It might change but it will definitely help you. So yeah. um, Okay, so yeah, there is a point like what extra I did. So study material तो बहुत सारा है, like तुम YouTube पे देख सकते हो. There are lot of links available. Just stick to one, as Aparajita said. मतलब मैं लीड कोड करती थी और इंटरव्यू बेट करती थी फॉर द क्वेश्चंस एंड फॉर द थ्योरी और एनीथिंग इफ आई वांट टू रीड. तो फिर आई गो टू दिस यूट्यूब चैनल और जस्ट रैंडमली सी सम आर्टिकल्स and yeah, do the questions. So extra what I did is I was doing everything with my friend. So like there was an accountability. So every day we used to we made a proper Excel, Google Excel sheet, and we write our score कि आज के दिन में हमने कितने questions करे. So we had a kind of battle that who will do the most number of questions, and accountability रहती है वो क्या कर रहे हैं. So I mean it really helps. So you can do your preparation with any of your friend. So तुम आपस में भी तुम लोग you can make a sheet and share your questions. और इससे काफ़ी मोटिवेशन रहता है. If you see your friend doing 10 more questions and if you wasted your time, then you automatically gets motivated कि हाँ, I also have to do. So I think that thing really helped me to stay consistent because uh, I think the most important key is consistency in DSA. अभी ऊपर ऊपर से if you don't start तो दिखने में it looks difficult, but it gets very interesting once you go all into it. So I think consistency is very important. Coming about my interview, I think my visa interview was relatively much easier as compared to my previous interviews, which I did in Microsoft, Uber, Arcesium, and yeah, I think one, two more were there. So the interview actually started. The interviewer was a very senior level interviewer. He started with asking me basically about my introduction and everything. Then he gave me, I think, binary search question. So it was not a difficult question. He also helped me if I got stuck somewhere. I don't know. I think I did that question. And then he asked me some puzzles, some real life problems. In some companies, they also ask you very random questions, like ekdam out of the box questions. They'll ask you some puzzles. So at that time, I think they don't expect you to give the exact answer of that puzzle question. They are judging you on the basis of how you are interpreting, how you are interacting. Like, are you asking if you don't have any doubts? So like, if whenever you get stuck in an interview, and if you don't understand it something, you should always ask about the like, can you please give me an example, or can you please repeat? Or it's like they want to see that you are actually into this, you are actually interested in it. So you have to show your interest, and you have to keep it a two-way conversation. So even if you are while coding, if you are thinking something that I'll have to do a for loop here, so keep on saying what you are thinking, because the interview then knows that what path you are choosing, and if you are doing something wrong, then the interviewer can correct you. So it's very important to convey your thoughts while you are coding or doing the question. So yeah, my interviewer was very chill, and he gave me also economics question out of nowhere. So it was a very, I think, mixed interview. And the second was a HR round, in which they basically asked me why I want to join and everything, basic HR questions. So yeah, I suggest all of you to be prepared for HR interview questions, because there are some basic questions which they ask, like, why do you want to join the company? And they also might ask you what are your strengths, weaknesses, and something about your they you have to mug up your resume. Like, whatever you are writing in your resume, you should know what you are writing, because they are very senior people, and they actually know if you are playing a bluff or actually did something. So make sure that whatever projects you are writing, you actually know about them in very detail. So yeah, he asked me about my projects, and basically my POR positions. So if you have a POR position, then do write it in your resume. You can explain your work there. It shows your team skills, leadership skills, right? So yeah, that was it. My interview was not actually, it was even short. I think it was 30 minutes. Both the interviews were 30 minutes only. So yeah, uh, any advice or suggestion? So like I said, consistency is very important. uh, it's okay if you do one or two question per day, but it's very important that you do it, because if you lose the consistency, then it's the inertia of doing starting it again is very hard. So be consistent. And accountability, I said that you can do it. Either you should be accountable to yourself, or you if you cannot do, if you don't have that much of self motivation like I didn't had, so tie up with one of your friends, and you both can, both, or like in groups also, you can do it together. So thoda competitive rehta hai, or it helps also. You can ask your doubts with each other. So accountability is good. Quality of code is something which I actually realized quite late. So what interviewer also sees, that how you are writing the code. Like, for instance, if you are making a function, so don't just make any random function like xyz. There, like, if you have to merge, then make a function merge. Like, if you have to store, like, find out maximum number of people, so max number of people you should, although it's big, but I think your function should have a meaning. Because what happens in industry, if you write a code, and if you write a code, and several of people have to review that code, change it at any point of time, or do anything with the code, then they should at least be able to understand what you wrote. So your code, your function, or like, I mean, whatever variables you are creating should have a meaning. So there are a lot of videos also on the YouTube. You can search how to improve quality of code, they'll tell you. So I think do watch those videos and follow that actually while you are practicing. I think it's also important to practice your questions in time constraint, because in coding rounds, it gets very hard because to clear the coding rounds, because the time is a big constraint there. We can solve a question very aram se at ghar बैठ के पूरा full day, but at that point of time we have to complete it and the time duration. So I think maintain a clock. And yeah, as I said, apply only if you're interested in role company, because PU doesn't allow us to you know back off. So make sure you do a background check. If you like want a PPO, then see it, CTC, the roles, the company culture, whatever you prefer, your preferences are. Make sure you see that before. And yeah, prepare interview general HR questions. You can find lot of HR questions. You just type product companies HR questions and service whatever company you are applying into, and you'll get a good list of questions. Prepare that beforehand, because actually very easy on very easy questions also you can get stuck up. So I think it's good to have a preparation beforehand. And keep your whole interview interactive. It Of course it will happen that sometimes you won't know the code, you won't know, you can't able to think of a algorithm how to solve it, which path to choose, which data like what to use, right? So whether you want to use a linked list, whether you want to use queue stack, you don't know. So it's important to keep the interview interactive, because the interviewer will always help you uh, in telling you whether you are doing it correct or wrong, and he she will give you some hints. So keep it interactive. And in the end, yeah, I would like to say that it's like it doesn't matter if you get a SIP or not. Honestly, I mean, everyone will end up in the same place. I see all of my friends are in Bangalore. Some are from because of PS, some are because of SIP, and it's. I mean, it doesn't matter much. What is important that you do your preparation. You give your 100% at this point of time or some other point of time. It will definitely help you. It will help you either in your SIPs, or it will help you in your placements. So yeah, just enjoy this, and you'll yourself start enjoying it once you start seeing ki, "Oh, okay, all my 100% code is submitted, all the test cases are passed." You yourself will feel quite motivated. So yeah, that is it from my side.
Thank you, Dee. If anyone has any doubts, you can ask right now. Yes, Shreya.
So I heard that if you sit for SIPs, then you won't be able to do a PS in 4.1. Is that how it works, or is that a misconception?
No, no, that is actually true, because see, like my SIP, it started from 22nd May, and it will end on 28th of July. So the PS, like my batch's people's PS will start around 10 or 10-11 July. So there is a overlapping period. So it's not it's not I mean, it's not allowed to work in two companies at the same time. So that's why our it's not allowed to do PS and uh, like SIP.
Okay,
So
got it.
yeah, you have to do a thesis.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean,
How?
this is also like you can actually see if you have a really good CG. Like if your CG, I mean, is above 8.5 or something like that. So I think you should very carefully apply for SIP also, because you might get a very good PS, and you can also get to work for 6 months. So I know a lot of my friends who have a very good CG, like above 8.9 CG they have, and they deliberately they just applied for the top companies, and after a point they didn't apply it because they knew that anyways they'll be getting a good PS. So keep in mind your opportunity cost of applying into SIP.
I have another question also. I heard that with some companies like Amazon,
Hmm.
there's like a duration. Like if you give one interview, they won't let you sit for another interview for the same company for like 6 months or 8 months or whatever. So could even giving the SIP interview rounds mess up your chances of PS? Like not just Amazon, but other companies.
No, I don't think so. It happens that there is a cool down period thing. Like if you are applying in a particular company, like if you are applying in Amazon, and if you got rejected, then there is a cool down period of different companies. Usually it's of 6 months, so you can't apply into Amazon again for the 6 months. I think, yeah, I think it actually it might happen that you can't apply for PS. I'm not sure. I'll ask someone and let you know this.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi. So I wanted to ask, like, what's the scene with projects? How many projects do interviewers expect you to have when you're applying for SIP, and like how much do they ask?
Okay. Aprajita, would you like to take this on?
Uh, it's fine to have one project. They don't expect you to have a lot of projects in your resume because it's only for dualites it's third year, but it's actually people are just completed their second year. But the one project that you do mention on your superset resume, make sure you know it thoroughly and you know it really well, and you can speak about the impact and the uses that it has. It and it doesn't necessarily have to be development if you're applying to a software development role. It can be ML. My project was in ML, but they might ask you ML questions if they have some knowledge of ML, or they won't ask a lot.
Okay, and one more thing was like, how much time on a daily basis on average did you all give during the summer for your BS exam?
So actually, so in my summer breaks, I think I mean it depends on a particular day. Initially, I think I was doing 7 8 hours per day because I had to complete the topic in a, so I was very competitive initially. But yeah, there are some days in which I just did one or two question for 1 or 2 hours only. So it depends. You should, I mean, if you do it very nicely in these 3 months, or I mean 2 3 months, how much break do you have? Summer break?
Two. 2 months.
2 months. Okay. So if you don't have anything to do in this in these 2 months, I highly recommend कि go all for this DSA, prepare बहुत अच्छे से, because हाँ मतलब as much as you can, ऐसा कुछ है नहीं कि इतने hours देने चाहिए, मतलब मेरा तो बहुत ज़्यादा ऐसा फ्लेक्सिबल सा रहता है, मतलब there was a time when I was doing 8 to 10 hours a day and one just 1 2 hour a day. So depends, like depends on the topic. If I'm enjoying a particular topic, like I remember I enjoyed bit manipulation for some reason, and the whole day I was just doing bit manipulation. But yeah, when I came to some topics which I didn't enjoy it, so at that time I just did for 2 3, because some topics require like if you do some questions, this is a DP if you are doing, then it's okay to invest like 1 2 hours on a single question. So I think you just can count on the number of questions you are doing, and it would be better if you make a plan beforehand only, like a weekly plan or some monthly. So you can't because there are just 2 months. So make a like a month weekly plan that in this week I have to complete this level. Like I told you, I used to follow this interview bit ladder. So I was having the plan कि I'll do this in my first week, second week, third week. So make a plan and just stick to it. You might require to solve more number of questions for a particular topic, and for some topic it would be okay if you do like 20 30 questions, then you'll get the full gist of it. So I think most important is you just keep on moving. Don't get stuck to a particular topic. Like if you are not understanding stack, you just move ahead, go to heaps, and then come back later, because बहुत it gets saturated also a lot. So yeah, Kavya, yeah, Astha, do you still have some doubt or
No, no, thank you.
okay, Kavya, yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask regarding the project, like what sort of project do you require, or like what like particular tech stack that we require to know beforehand for this project, and like how do you make those? I want to know that part, and like what approach do you follow to make such project?
So let me tell you, like in my in my resume, there was not a single decent project. I just for the sake of project, I used my PS1 project, and I also did a in COVID. I did a internship with the CPPR. It's an economics background related company. So I did pasted those projects, and the interviewers asked me only regarding that. But I still feel that it's important to have some project in your at least a single project, a technical project. If you're applying to IT companies, I think it's good if you have a IT project. And regarding the text, I think Aprajita, since you did ML project, you can tell her.
Yeah, so MLB, to be honest, it was just the course project for ML that I did during summer time, and I only had 2 months for it, so there was nothing much to show. But I talked about the accuracy and F1. If you do ML, like there are certain metrics that you get, which you can use to measure how good your model is. And so and I talked about the different algorithms that I used, such as random forest regression and all that. So yeah, basically, just explain it in as depth as you can. Just keep on talking about your project. Don't let them ask questions. And yeah, that was my strategy mostly. And that's all I can say about ML. I think web dev would also be a nice avenue to explore if you haven't done anything, because there are a lot of tutorial videos available online. And don't worry about it not being unique. They're not looking for very hi-fi projects. um, yeah, that's it. Soumya spoke about everything, the very nice details.
Yeah, so I mean, like if you are asking that you don't know how to like start a project or something like that, honestly, you can just go to YouTube or just Google some good projects. Like just focus. Like if you want to do a project in ML, so there are a lot of ML projects which you can get online. तो like अगर तुमने कुछ भी नहीं बनाया अभी तक, so or if you have to update your resume by the like in 2 3 days, so you can just Google some projects, you'll get the full code, you'll get everything. You just make sure you understand it properly, and then you can, use that as a project if you have done nothing. I actually used my MUPI project because I didn't had any good project by that time. So I think I remember, yeah, I did a fire alarm. If you guys are from electronics, I think CS people are also doing a MUPI. So I had to make a fire alarm kuch. So uska I wrote, but I made sure that in my interview I knew what I was saying, what I used in that, जो भी ASM language or something which I used. जितना भी तुम technical बोल सकते हो अपने project में, try to show that. And कुछ तो एक project बना ही लो. Like मैंने अब तक नहीं अपना resume update कर रखा. I'll just update my SIP work which I'll do this time for my placements वाला resume. But I think it's good to have a technical project. It's good to talk about, like it shows कि you have some knowledge. तो you can do like बहुत अच्छे अच्छे projects हैं. AIML NLP के projects कर सकते हो तुम. Natural like अभी तुम्हें सुनने में ये terms probably समझ नहीं आ रहे होंगे. You can just Google it. It's very interesting, very not that difficult also. And बहुत सारे online projects already available हैं. So you can just see them, or probably if you are from CS, then in your courses you might be required to make some project, one or two. So you can use that, and you can say that in my course I did this project. ऐसा करके you can use it. So yeah.
So thanks.
Any more doubts? Okay, so let's wrap it up. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you everyone.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
And